Hi friends, it's Gwen. Today I will be reviewing Fairest by Marissa Meyer. This is the fourth book published in the Lunar Chronicle series. It's technically 3.5. It is Queen Levana's story, the much anticipated backstory of Queen Levana. And this story does follow from the time that she was young up until her parents' assassination, and it really gives a full character arc up until Cinder begins. So I really enjoyed that. It's only 220 pages, so it should be a quick read, but it actually reads a little bit slow. And I think that's because there's not a lot of action. It's really focused around character building, backstory, and trying to figure out why is Queen Levana the way that she is. So, about the characters. Of course, it does focus a lot on Queen Levana, and you do get a lot of her backstory, her relationship with her sister, who is actually, in my opinion, more twisted than Levana. And it also covers a lot of the other minor characters from the other book, a lot of the Lunars in this book. It covers their backstory, and it also talks about the lunar operatives like Wolf, how they got started and their plan. It also talks a little bit about the disease that is on Earth and why it's named what it is. So it's basically a lot of backstory. It's all before Cinder starts. This is what's happening on Luna. Cover, I was a little disappointed just because it doesn't match the other covers. It has this flame on the bottom, but you could see the font matches, but then every other book has had this like pop of red, and this one really just features this mirror that is actually talked about in the book. So this whole scene right here, it's in the book. But I mean, it's still beautiful, but it just doesn't match, and that's always a bummer to a book collector. But what I did love was this inside art, which features Queen Levana's castle on. So here's Earth, and here's. But how beautiful is that? I would love to live there. But it's the same inside art, front and back. So I really did like that. It's very beautiful. The cover for Winter that comes out in November, it was just released I think yesterday, so I'll insert a picture of that cover. And there was a lot of controversy over that cover. A lot of people think it's cheesy. A lot of people think, like, why is it a white person holding the apple when Winter is supposedly dark-skinned or black? And while I'll say I love the covers of Cinder and Scarlet, but Cress I was a little on, and I think that the cover for Winter, it may or may not have some minor changes, but we also have to think about the fact that we're just seeing a picture of it and we're not actually seeing the cover. And I know there's been other books that people have talked about that said that the cover is so much prettier in person. So maybe we just have to see it in person. I'm gonna hold out hope. It does cover a lot of backstory of characters, and it's basically character driven. It's definitely not an action-packed book, and if you're expecting that, you're gonna be disappointed. The one downfall of this book, and I'll say the biggest downfall of this book, besides it being slow-paced because there's not a lot of action, is the fact that it's set on Luna, which I was so excited about, because we don't really get a sense of what Luna looks like, or you don't really get that feeling of, you know, from the previous three books. You don't understand like what it is and how things work. And I was like, yes, I'm finally gonna get it in this book, and you don't. I feel that the world was underdeveloped and it wasn't descriptive enough. I loved the artwork. That was really the only sense of the setting that I got, but it wasn't described at all, and I was terribly bummed out about it. When I was hearing buzz about the book, good and bad, a lot of people were saying that they either loved it or they hated it, and I was thinking that they were gonna dislike the book because I thought that the author may go in a way that tries to make you feel sorry for Queen Levana, and she definitely does not do that, but it just isn't descriptive enough. Like, you get a lot of character stuff, but other than that, that's really all you get. So it really is like a companion book. It really is. The plot, like I said, it reads a little slow just because there's not a lot of action. but it does cover Queen Levana's story and her family and her sister and their guard, basically everything that's kind of happening in the palace. I mean, they briefly mention things that go on outside, but not really. And the conflict, of course, the biggest part of the book is you're trying to figure out, why is Queen Levana the way she is? And although it is explained in this book, I think it stems from her what happened with her sister when they were younger. I think that is why she glamours herself and she wears the veil and all of that. And that's explained. And while I'm like, I think a different person would have handled it totally differently and maybe been a little bit stronger and better and nicer and kinder because of it, Queen Levana chose the evil side, so there's got to be someone. But it also explains her story about falling in love and how it was really a loveless marriage, and I really kind of felt sorry for her in that aspect, but not really, because she forced the guy to be with her. So you can't force someone to be with you and then expect them to fall in love with you. Her sister was like just truly evil. I really felt that her sister just had evil intentions when she was on the throne. So then when Queen Levana takes a throne, she puts off an air that she's trying to do it for the people, and you know, she wants everybody to understand that she's the fairest, you know, nicest queen that there is, but really she becomes greedy and power hungry, and that's basically the reason why Queen Levana is the way that she is. The resolution of the story is good. I feel that it covers, it closes the story on why Queen Levana is the way she is, and although I think that, like I said, a different person would have gone a different path, she followed this path. It follows from when she was young, when her parents were assassinated, her taking over the throne, her starting her rule, and then it kind of stops right where Cinder starts. So I really felt that was good. And I ended up giving this book 4 stars. I loved the characters. Obviously, Marissa Meyer is an excellent character developer. The plot was a 4, the conflict was a 4, the resolution, of course, was a 5, just because it covered so much in such a short book. But the setting was just a 3. I mean, while you got a good sense of maybe how it was laid out, I mean, maybe that was like more in my head than actually in the book. But you got a good sense of the palace, and they do give you the illustration. I gave it a 3, but that's really all you get, and that was a real bummer. I probably could have given it 3 stars even, but I think I was giving it 4 stars because the resolution and the characters were so high. So it's still a really great book, and I definitely recommend you pick it up. If you haven't read any of the books in the Lunar Chronicle series, you could technically pick this one up first and read this and then start Cinder, Scarlet, Crest, because that's kind of the order of the story. But if you want to read them in the order that they were published, that is good too. I just highly recommend you pick them up because they're sci-fi, dystopian, fantasy, story retellings, fairy tale retellings, and they're really good. So I hope you've enjoyed this review. I know it was probably a little bit long-winded, but I wanted to get all of my thoughts out there the best that I could, because I know people are teeter-tottering whether they even want to read this book or not, and I really think you should if you want to know her backstory, Queen Levana's backstory. But if you're looking to learn more about Luna, you're not going to get it in this book. But that's it for today, guys. I hope you've enjoyed. Take a moment to like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!